Grammar is not a very exciting topic, especially when it comes to learning English, because in the English language there are so many rules, exceptions, and grammar points that you need to remember. It feels impossible to be able to remember them all. Whenever I post a grammar video on my channel, it never gets as many views as, say, my business English videos or my advanced vocabulary videos. But I notice in nearly all my students, and often in the comments section on my channel, many non-native English speakers and motivated learners like yourselves struggle with knowing when to use the right preposition. I can understand why. There are so many prepositions, from prepositions of time, prepositions of place, to prepositions that always follow adjectives or always follow adverbs or always follow verbs, for example. And there are so many uses, where to place them, where not to place them. It's a lot to remember, so I can understand why you make these small mistakes. And typically, making a mistake with a preposition doesn't mean you won't be understood, but it does mean you sound less confident or less fluent when you are talking. So if you can get the basics down that I'm going to go over in this video today, and you can start recognizing when you make a mistake and correct yourself, not only will your sentences be grammatically correct, but this makes you sound more confident, more fluent, and more capable when using spoken English. Hi, my name is Catherine. I'm a business English teacher and I work with intermediate to advanced level students. I recommend subscribing if you are joining a workplace that is using English, want to get a job where you will be using English, or just want to improve from that upper intermediate to advanced level. In today's video, I'm going to go through some of the most common prepositions with you, which are prepositions of time and prepositions of place. And these are the ones I see used most often in an incorrect way. We do, of course, have prepositions like with and in and to, and I go through all of those in my prepositions videos, which you will find in this playlist. So once you've watched this one on the basics, I definitely recommend going and watching some of my other prepositions videos that will help you to understand where and when and how to use them. Let's start off with prepositions of time. Prepositions of time. So any time you are talking about the actual time on a clock, the day of the week, the month, the year, the season, these will be prepositions for those moments in your life. At. Now we use at with particular times on a clock. So 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I will see you at 5 o'clock. I will see you at 6 o'clock. I will see you at 7 o'clock. So when you have a particular specific time that you are meeting, you say at. You use at. We also use at with two particular points in the day. The first is at midday, which of course is lunchtime, 12 o'clock, middle of the day, at midday, and at night, at night. Combine those two together and you've also got at midnight. I will see you at midday. I'm having lunch with my friends at night time. I am usually asleep at midnight. Within the week, in the English language, we split it into weekdays and the weekend. Weekdays are your Monday to Friday because typically in the European workplace, we work Monday to Friday and we rest on the weekend, at the weekend. So Saturday and Sunday are our rest days. So whenever asking somebody about their weekend, what are you doing at the weekend? What did you do at the weekend? But it's important to note here that Americans will say on the weekend, on the weekend. So technically with this one, you can use at or on, but if you want to be grammatically British English correct, it's at the weekend. And our last one for at is special celebrations throughout the year. So, for example, at New Year, at Christmas, at Easter, I'm just using Christian examples, but at Hanukkah, at Eid, at Ramadan, specific times in the year, we would say at. Now, the only exception here is your birthday. Because your birthday is a specific date, very particular to you, we say on my birthday, on your birthday, which leads me on to on. So how do we use on as a preposition for time? Well, we use it with specific dates. So on the 1st of January, on the 1st of February, on the 3rd of August, or a specific day in the week, on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, on Friday. I will go to work on Monday. I will have an interview on Tuesday. I only go shopping on Fridays. Notice I used a plural there, so we also use on with plural days. I work on Saturdays. I have yoga on Mondays. Now, in informal situations, we can leave out the on. So we would say, the office is closed Fridays. I went to the shop, but it's closed Sundays. We can leave out the on, but in more formal, proper situations, we should say on and the day that follows it. I have a meeting Monday. I'm seeing my friend Tuesday. We can skip the on. And our last preposition of time is in. In. We use in with the other particular points of the day that we didn't use at. So remember, at midday, at nighttime, at midnight. So we use in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. We use in with months. So in July, in August. If there is a date before the month, that means it's specific, so we have to use on. I am seeing a band on the 14th of July, but I am seeing a band in July. It's not specific, it's the entire month that I'm talking about. Some point in July. My birthday is on the 15th of August. My birthday is in August. So on with the date, in if there is no date, if it's more general. I start school in September. With years, in 2010, in 2011, in 1993, in 1994. Now, what about if we want to say our entire birthday? In that case, it would be, I was born on the 15th of August in 1986. So on the date, in the year. We use in with seasons because, again, it's not a specific date. It's not a specific time. It's a general time period. So in the spring, in the winter, in the summer, in the autumn. And the last one is in longer periods of time. So again, because there's no specific date, we use in. In 2010, people were doing this. In the 2000s, people were doing this. In the late 90s, people were doing this. Apple was created in the 90s. So it's a longer period of time. It's not a specific date or month or week. It's the entire 90s at some point in that period. So I'm now going to go through some exceptions for you. So definitely note these ones down and you just need to remember them. This is a case of remembering where you cannot use or should use a different preposition. It doesn't follow the rule. So if we are talking about a period of time in the day in a more general sense, we use in. I work best in the morning. I often get tired in the afternoon, but I worked really hard on the morning of the 9th of November, so I was really tired on the afternoon of the 9th of November. In the evening, they like to sit outside, but they sat outside on a beautiful summer's evening. So in the evening is more general, every evening. On a beautiful summer's evening, they sat outside. This is a specific evening that you're talking about. Okay, we don't have the date or the day or the month, but it's a specific day you are talking about, a specific evening. So we use on. Again, with at night or in the night. So at night refers to any night in general. Don't travel alone at night. So any night. But I was awake in the night thinking about my work. Meaning last night, a specific night that I am thinking of. I haven't told you which night it was, but there's a specific night that I am thinking of. At the end or in the end? Well, at the end is the point in which it finishes, a specific point when something finishes. At the end of the film, everyone was crying. So the minute the film stopped, everyone started crying. But in the end suggests a longer period of time or a series of events that have led to this moment. The film was great, but it was really moving. In the end, everyone was crying. So after all these events happened, the last part of the film, the last 20 minutes, the last 15 minutes, everyone was crying. So a longer period of time and an understanding that something led up to this point. It didn't just happen at the end. Similarly, with at the beginning or in the beginning. At the beginning is the point in which something starts. At the beginning of the lesson, the teacher told a story. Whereas in the beginning, we use to contrast 2 points of time. So something was like this when it started, but it changed to be like this when it ended. So for example, in the beginning, nobody understood what was happening, but after the teacher explained, things were much clearer. So in this beginning period, nobody understood, which is contrast to this period where everyone did understand. We also use in to describe how long something will take. So he could learn a song in about 5 minutes. We'll be seeing each other in 3 days' time. In X amount of time, minutes, days, months, weeks, years. In 10 years, I will be 30. In 6 hours, I will have finished work. Now, the only time we don't use at, on, or in before a time is when we're using expressions such as each, every, next, last, some, this, that, one, any, all. So these are time expressions that identify how often something happens. So he plays football every Saturday. I teach every day. I wake up every morning. I have lessons next week. I will see you next lesson. Some Mondays I go to yoga. Some Mondays I go swimming. So when you use a time expression that identifies how often something happens, you do not need to think about if you need an at, an on, or an in, because you wouldn't say, I have lessons on every Monday. That's too many words in your sentence. You would just say, I have lessons every Monday. I often hear people saying at the same day. I will do it at the same day. It's on the same day. Make sure you are saying on the same day. I will do this and this on the same day, because on is used with more specific days. And of course, same day is not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but you've previously told me. So maybe you've said, on Monday I will go shopping and I will buy new shoes on the same day. I already know it's a Monday. So on the same day, never at the same day. Now let's move on to our at, on, and in place or location. I'm going to really confuse you now and add even more ways to use these 3 prepositions. But as I said previously, it's just about practicing, writing these down, doing example questions, and practicing when you should use them. It will become natural to you. So when using at, in terms of place or location, we use at when we see a specific point, a specific location. So I was sitting at my desk. I was at work. I was at the cinema. I was at the hospital. all the times I am using this, I am just talking about the location of where I am, where my body is. I'm not talking about what I was doing there. I'm not saying I was inside somewhere doing something. I'm just talking about myself as the location. That was where I was located. So I was at a concert as well works. I wasn't in a concert because that suggests you're up on stage singing. I was at a concert. I was at the location listening to the music. When we use a company name, we use at. How many people work at Apple? What's it like working at Microsoft? How many people work at your company? And the company name. How many people work at Google? How many people work at Facebook? How many people work at YouTube? When we use the company name, we use at. With school, college, or university, we use at. So she did well at school. He was at university. She studied at college, and you can add whatever it is you studied in there. I studied marketing at university. I studied hard at school. So again, like the location, we use at with a specific address. So I live at 123 My House Street. The business is located at 5678 Business Road. At. When it's a specific location, somewhere where you make an appointment, we also use at. So I am at the doctor's, I am at the hairdressers, I am at the barbers, I am at the opticians. Opticians are the glasses people. I am at a counseling session with my therapist. So when you have to book an appointment and receive a treatment, we use at. And when we go shopping and you want to demonstrate to somebody that you bought something, show them what you got, show them what you purchased that day, we also use at. Look what I bought at the shops today. Doesn't this food look good that I bought at the supermarket? Look at this fantastic deal I got at the butcher's. Now, when we use on, and I think you can guess this one, our first way to use on is when it's physically on something. So I left my laptop on the table. My drink is on the desk. I am sitting on a chair. Technically, chair is a bit of an exception, but I will go over that later. I'm sitting on the bed. The cup is on the kitchen worktop. To talk about a floor in a building, so we never say at the 5th floor, at the 4th floor. We always say on. I live on the 15th floor. Take the lift to the 6th floor and I live on that floor. But remember, your address is at. So for that example, we would say I live at 123 House Road on the 6th floor. I'm not sure why, so don't ask. I imagine it has something to do with settlements and history and how maps were originally drawn to follow bodies of water, follow rivers, follow seas, follow lakes, and people would set up houses near bodies of water. But whenever we are talking about a place along a road or river or sea or lake, we use on. So Dublin is on the coast of Ireland, the coast being the front where the sea is. Bournemouth is on the south coast of England. This is only really used to talk about positioning in relation to the water. And my favorite one is using on with public transport. Now, this is really interesting because we get on a train, we get on a bus, we get on a plane, but we get in a car, in a taxi, and we get on a bike. And my understanding of this is because you climb onto those things. Think about it. When you get on a train, you step up onto the train. When you get on a bus, you step up onto the bus. When you get on a plane, you climb stairs and step onto the plane. But when you get in a car, you have to duck down and go into the car. When you get on a bike, you climb onto the bike. So public transport or bicycles, we say on. I was on a bus on the weekend. However, when we are talking about how we get to somewhere, the actual traveling, we use by. So I go to work by train. I go to my friend's house by bus. How did you get to work this morning? By bus, or I took a bus. And our last one is in for prepositions of location. We use in when talking about a larger area, a less specific area. So I lost my glasses in this room. Can you help me find them? I don't know where in this area, but I know it's in this area. Or, for example, I'm going on holiday to England. I will be staying in London, in Manchester. And we also use in when we are talking about the office, but physically how it looks or how it's created. So she works in an office. She works in an open plan office. She works in a co-working space. She works in a small, in a large office. Now, a couple of exceptions. When we are talking about movement rather than place, rather than location. So as I previously mentioned, when we're talking about moving on transport, we say by. But when we're talking about how we go, we say on. Similarly, when we're talking about the movement of going to a specific location, we use to. I will go to the cinema. I want to go to the cinema. My father is going to hospital. But at is used when we are already at that location. I am at hospital, at the cinema. Also, when we talk about traveling, movement, we arrive in a country or city, a specific location. I arrive in Italy, I arrive in France, but the particular place that we arrive is at. So I arrived at the train station in Italy. I arrived at the cinema in Spain. I arrived at my hotel in Morocco. I arrived at the airport in England. So the specific location inside that country we would use at. And one more exception I want to give you is hospital. Hospital. So at and in hospital are two very, very different things. Maybe you already know this, but at hospital, we're talking about the place, the location. So maybe you're visiting someone. Maybe you're a doctor. Maybe you're a nurse. Maybe you just need to pick up some medication. But in hospital, I am in hospital, suggests that something is happening to you for you to be in hospital. So you are unwell, you are sick, you are being treated. So if you ever text your mum or your wife or your husband or your children saying, "Hi, I'm in hospital, be home soon," they're going to be very confused and worried, wondering why you are in hospital, what's happened, what accident did you have, are you unwell? Whereas if you said, "I'm at hospital, I'll be home soon," the understanding is maybe you're picking up medication, visiting someone, or you just fancied a trip to the hospital. It's a lot of information to take in, I know, and there are so many other prepositions that we can go through, but don't worry, I do have plans to go through them all. I wish I had more hours in the day so I could make all my videos at once, but of course, that's just not possible. But these are the main ones you need to remember. At, in, and on for place and time, and just try and remember the exceptions to the rule. Definitely go back and watch again and write down some examples. Every time I give you a preposition, write down some examples. If you need me to give you some test questions, let me know in the comments and I can absolutely do that. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you could give me a like and make sure you are subscribed before you leave, it's really helpful. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a fantastic week. Goodbye.